welcome to the live show. Today's guest, wow. If you have seen Love It or List It, you would know him. He's an actor, he's an entertainer, he's a realtor, and he's just an overall super fun guy. Sometimes I think he might be part gazelle too, because he likes to jump really high. Please welcome Todd Talbot. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, happy to be here.
You know, I've wanted to do this interview with you for a long time. I've been following you on your Instagram feed and all your social media feeds, and you have been a busy boy during this pandemic. So a couple questions right off the bat. A lot of people have been wondering, where's Love It or List It? Is it coming back on?
No, we're done. We're done. We shot 5 seasons, 26 episodes a season. So we did, 130 one-hour episodes, shot over almost consistently for 7.5 years. So it was definitely a interesting chapter in my life. It was definitely time for me to move on and do something else. We've been doing that for a long time, and it was fantastic. But I think that there was, potentially some interest in carrying on, but I let the show know before season 5 started shooting that it would be my last year, and I'm grateful and also excited for new adventures.
Really? It's just.
How's that for a political answer?
No kidding. I think there's going to be a lot of sad people out there. So, so if you didn't know, Todd was on Love It or List It Vancouver, and he was with, there he is in jumping around here, but he is with, I'm just going to pull up a shot here of your co-host, Gillian. Yep. So what was it like working with her?
That was great. I mean, we come from very different worlds. We have... I think there's some similarities. We're both passionate about family, and from that perspective, we really fit well together. We also like to have fun. We don't take things too seriously on set. The show's artifice was designed to kind of pit us against each other, and I felt it was important to kind of set up this brother-sister dynamic. And that's kind of how we played it the whole time. And it's really, we're kind of the same off screen as we are on screen. We can pick on each other, and I think that that's one of the elements that people enjoyed. They enjoyed watching us kind of make fun of each other and just do silly things. I mean, at the end of the day, a television show is meant to be entertaining. We weren't curing COVID-19, and we wanted to show people some cool houses, some great design, and wrap it all up in kind of a fun ball of entertainment. So yeah, it was good.
All right. Well, yeah, we will be sad. So we have a couple comments here. So Worthy, is Todd really going to be live? Well, Todd, are you live right now? Yeah, in the flesh.
I'll pinch myself. Ow!
So Worthy, if you have any questions for Todd, leave a comment right there. So Todd, what have you been doing during COVID-19 then? So other than, I've seen on your Instagram, you're active with your family, you're doing renovations. What else are you doing?
My goodness, so many things. At the beginning, obviously, lots of people were just trying to figure out how to navigate this, what it meant, stay connected to people using Zoom, so many different things to just try and get through, really. I often joke, you've got small kids. My kids are 9 and 10, grade 3 and grade 5. And I'm sure they're not watching right now. They're inside doing something else. But I often say the toughest part for us has been the homeschooling scenario. And I think it's put a lot of pressure on a lot of families to try and figure that out. The Zoom calls, to try and keep your kids motivated like that. That's been maybe the toughest part. We've taken on a ton of renovations around the house. I'm sitting right now in my office, which I converted the old falling down garage in the back of the property, which was rat infested. It was disgusting. It's now beautiful and insulated, and we finished that right before the pandemic started. So we got to use this as a schoolroom, office, be able to do interviews. We started a YouTube show called Size Isn't Everything, which was designed to lend my platform to small businesses. I'm fascinated as a small business owner myself. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I wanted to shine a spotlight on businesses across the country and around the world, and just learn a little bit about how they were managing to stay afloat, stay open. Are they closed? What are the impacts? Some businesses, are thriving, and some are really struggling. So I think we've launched 4 episodes. I'm new to YouTube, so you're the expert, my friend.
Well, we're having a look right now. We have one that I've got playing in the background, and you have a musical element to each episode right now. So this one's about the donut bar, and yeah. I watched it. I'm telling you, it's like this is one of these ones that there's good information, but damn, it made me hungry too, right?
Honestly, like her donuts are insane. So this is out on the East Coast, and one of the things, when you interview people, you never know what you're going to hear. Just quickly, so musical guest there was Ashley Ball, who's a longtime friend, brilliant musician. People have stepped up to do these, big-time recording artists come and sing the jingle. The direction is they get to use the title, and then they sing. But this woman who has the donut bar, she was a dentist. She was becoming a dentist, and she decided to pivot and become a baker. And I was like, what an incredible story to follow your passion to bake, and let go of something that might have been maybe a more secure route financially, or at least appear that way. And it's been fascinating to I think the thing that I've learned most from these people is what makes them tick. Not so much the dynamics of their business, but what drives them forward. That's where there's commonality.
Well, what's amazing is, so you've started this series, and this is just purely just to highlight, the little guy, really, right?
Yeah, it's I don't need anyone to pat me on the back for it. It's been a big learning curve, first of all, because I haven't done it before. Normally I work with crews, and they do all the editing, and they show up with cameras and stuff like that. But I basically produced it, and my wife Rebecca I threw her into the deep end on iMovie. She's edited each one of these, and they take a long time. Like I'm not sure people understand. You would, but she probably spends 4 days editing, a 1 hour conversation down to 10 minutes, and it's tricky, but we've enjoyed it. I think we'll continue it. I hope people get something out of it, and hopefully those businesses get, a little bit of a bump in terms of their presence and stuff like that. So
some recognition is, well-deserved recognition. We have Vamc. He says, "Hello, Brian." He goes, okay. Videos are really informative. I like Air Canada just because of your videos. Thank you. All right. Good.
I saw your Air Canada video too, and it's awesome. Yeah.
Good to hear from you. They're taking a lot of heat right now, as are a lot of cruise ships, and the whole travel industry has really taken a huge hit. So I'm not going to comment about that right now, because we were talking to Todd Talbot. Soulworthy is going. What are you going to do now, Todd? Well,
as you alluded to, I like to have a diverse portfolio of things going on. So while the show looked like it took up a lot of time, in reality, it was one piece of the pie in my business. And, there's other show opportunities that we're looking at, and things that I'm passionate about. I'll give you the super sappy answer, which is, at this point in my career, I'm 46 years old. I've been in the entertainment industry since professionally since I was about 13 years old. So I've been doing film and television and theater for a long time, and I've had a lot of amazing experiences. And to me, right now, it's doing something that I believe in, and working with good people. Like, I just want to work with people that I like being around, and so that's my criteria. we've got a new project that we launched, A-frame. We're building a very cool structure up on our lake property. I'm still very active investing in real estate in Greater Vancouver, but other places in Canada too. I still manage all of my rental properties that I have. I got a young family. I do a lot of speaking engagements. I host a lot of charity events. We're really active with a bunch of different charities. I was going back actually to do my first theater show in 8 years, which got canceled. We were about two weeks out. So we put in about 2 months of rehearsal, blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it's tough work. Oh my God, I forgot how crazy that is. And then we obviously had to pull the plug, or the producers had to pull the plug based on COVID, so there's.
Is it going to come back?
Always. They hope to do it again next year. I mean, I think that live theater is in a tricky position because you're essentially putting people close together in a room that part of the experience of theater is being with other people, and that's what makes it unique. Demographically, they tend to be older people who go to theater. I mean, not that that's what it should be, but so I think it's going to be a while. Like I honestly think theater is going to be one of the hardest hit businesses out there, or nonprofit businesses. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'd love to go back and find my way back on stage. I came very close this time. So we'll see.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, they just see you as a TV host and they see you on TV, but your background is live theater, and your wife as well, is it right? And I think and I think so. Are your kids? Do they have the acting bug at all, or anything like that? Because we have. Here's a little video here of your entire family. And you're singing, and you got a whole bunch of singers around you. Do they have the acting bug?
Yeah, I mean, I used to say, because people love to ask this question. Obviously, Rebecca and I have been in the business for a long time, and it seems logical that they would kind of be exposed to that. They've been around it for so long. Rebecca was doing Les Mis with Ashlyn in her belly until she was 7 months pregnant. So,
wow.
They were involved in theater in utero. I think both of them have a different comfort level and a different style. My daughter has been, I think, is more interested in live theater. She really loves that performance element. Last summer, she did Gotta Sing, Gotta Dance, which is a musical theater camp, and man, to see her on stage, honestly, as a dad, I never thought I would feel this way. But, I mean, I was sitting in the audience, and I was crying because she was, I don't know, something about being there in that environment just brought this incredible energy out of her. And, even just thinking about it now, I haven't thought about it in a while. So, I mean, it's interesting. I would never encourage my kids to go into this business. It's a tough business. There's no two ways about it. My son's been doing a bunch of film and TV. He's had quite a bit of success. And it's a good fit for him. He can walk into an audition room and charm people very easily, and he's not concerned about just having things thrown at him. Whereas my daughter likes a little bit more of a controlled environment, which I think theater offers that. It's a longer process. So they're very different, as all kids are. And but yeah, both have been very involved. They're involved in projects that I'm doing. They've been on Love It or List It. They've been in different commercials and stuff like that we've done. And obviously we've chosen to allow our kids to be on our social media feed and be out in public. And we try and honor them and respect them always in that, whenever we put them on social media. So
yeah, totally different than my kids. My kids, they wouldn't even say like hello on a camera, in front of a camera. So I think you're kind of lucky. I don't know, but maybe they might grow out of that. Okay,
yeah, you never know.
We have some more comments here. By the way, if you are watching, give it a thumbs up for sure so we can do more of these, and leave a comment. Hey, when do you ever get a chance to ask the Todd Talbot a question? What will happen to the real estate market this or next year for condos or single house?
Well, the next question I would ask is where, because where is a very important element to answer that question properly. I always preface this. Everyone wants to know the future. So do I. I'm heavily invested in real estate. So, first of all, I'll say I'm biased because I believe in the future of real estate, especially in the Lower Mainland, and really across Canada. I think that there are going to be some dynamic shifts that happen in terms of the way people think about real estate. There's lots of things going on. So let's talk about just what people might be attracted to. Are they going to be as interested in condo living after coming out of, 3 or 4 months of, self-isolation? We might see a little bit of shift back toward, building places that don't have shared hallways.
Elevators. That's a big thing.
Elevators. It's a big thing. So, how can we use maybe some of the detached properties a little bit better? Laneway homes, basement suites, all those kinds of things where we have some outdoor space. So it'll be interesting to kind of track that to see if there is a shift. I still think that, the government, and then we could look at it from another angle, which is interest rates. Government has put in significant stimulus to make sure that, number one, people can still pay their mortgages, which is important so that we don't have a massive collapse in that area, which would then affect purchase price and values. But, so the lending rates are extremely low right now. So if you were already in a position to buy, there is an opportunity to capitalize on that. And I think that, 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road, I would be fairly confident in saying that we're going to see an increase, generally speaking. We've been spoiled about having these massive gains. I don't think we're going to see that in the near future. I think people need to adjust their thinking to look more long-term, 5 to 7 year plan, and make sure that you don't overspend when you buy. I mean, I watch people buy too much house, take on too much mortgage, because they think that that's what they need, and then they end up getting themselves really burdened down by these monthly costs. I would really highly encourage people, and we did it as a family as well. We moved from 3,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet.
Wow.
And honestly, we've been happier with less space. Now there's some challenges, but happier with less space than our larger house that, on Instagram looks way more impressive. But in reality, what is it? What is the space that you absolutely need to live the lifestyle that you're actually living, not the lifestyle that you think you want to live? So, I think people need to adjust their thinking about what they're buying, where they're buying it. But, to answer the question from a real global perspective, I do think that, or macro perspective, I should say, is, I do think that the real estate market will maintain its strength to a certain degree.
So my question, a small question. So I live in the Lower Mainland, and is it a good time to, let's say if I want to sell my house and buy another house, but let's just say upgrade, and I've heard, you hear Hong Kong, whatever, there's going to be more people that are going to be coming back here. Is that going to drive the price up? And is that good for me if I'm selling or buying?
Well, I think the thing is like if you're selling and buying, you need to understand that you're playing in the same market, right? So if I'm not moving to, Tumbler Ridge, a small little town that has different dynamics, if you're staying in relatively the same area, then you might be spending more money, but you're kind of playing in the same market. Yeah. So is there a huge advantage? One way to track whether it's up or down, if the whole market is down, then it doesn't really matter. If one segment, if condos are really hot and the detached market is depressed, then you can win that game by potentially selling high in the condo market and buying somewhat lower in the detached market. So you could play that game. The other part of your question is really about in-migration, which is one of the biggest, people try to overcomplicate the real estate market, and there's lots of dynamics at play. But generally speaking, you can look to supply and demand as a pretty good gauge. And supply is an easy thing to analyze. How many properties are there? How many are up for sale? How many new ones are being built? Migration, so how many new people are going to be wanting to rent, live, buy in a certain area? You've identified, foreign investment, foreign people moving to Greater Vancouver. Is that going to increase? My guess is yes, because you look at how British Columbia and Canada has managed, a global pandemic. The banking system is great. We're a safe communities. So all of these elements drive people from around the world to come here. As more and more people come, we can't keep pace in terms of what we're building. Plus, we don't have that much more space. So that pressure from a supply and demand perspective tends to drive prices up. And I think we're going to continue to see that. I think that's going to be one of the driving forces over the next 3 to 5 years for sure.
What do you look for when you're purchasing a house for investment, personally?
The ugliest house. I mean,
yeah. You look to see like, hey, what's the potential behind there? Is that what you're looking for? And then,
yeah,
and if it's really ugly, do you really lowball that house, or what do you do?
I mean, kind of my negotiation strategy. I think people are savvy now. Like you're not going to go out and trick anybody. I also, not that I necessarily believe in karma, but I do think in negotiations you need to be careful. If you try and take advantage of somebody one time, that may come back to bite you in the ass down the road. So I think looking for a win-win situation where all parties are happy, I think is really important, number one. Number two, what do I look for? Undervalued properties in terms of their future potential. From a location standpoint, I think is critically important. So the buy is actually much more important to analyze than the sell. Buy is where you lock in your future potential. So the timing, the location, the price, the future potential of that piece of property. What can you do with it down the road, renovation-wise, redevelopment-wise? If you get those components right, you're actually going to win down the road. And when it comes to selling, people always get focused on the sell, but the sell is only a function of the current market. And you can't control that. It just is what it is at that moment in time. The elements that you can control are on the buy. So, I like to look at places that are, not highest and best use. Can you renovate the garage? If it's a rental property, how many suites do you have in it right now? Can you clean this place up and actually make it a much more attractive place to rent, safer? So, any of those little elements, and I like multiple outs. Like I want to know I can rent it. I want to know that I could live in it, and I want to know that I could ultimately sell it if I needed to, so that I've got my bases covered. I'm conservative when it comes to it. I'd rather make less deals and be more strategic and have those be better than be like all over the map. And the last thing I'll say about it is buy where you know, because where you live, Brian, in the 10 block radius that you're living in, you actually could probably beat me, even though I have more experience than you. Where you know, where you live, where you work, where you go to school, you see dynamics are happening and unfolding in front of your eyes before anyone else will. So you'll be able to pick up on future trends. That's why statistics like, you get an 8% increase in property values where a Starbucks opens up. I can't remember if it's 8%. I might be misquoting myself. But anyways, it's something like that. And the reason is that it's not because Starbucks opened up or because they have great coffee, and that's debatable, Starbucks, is because they have a team of people who have already done the due diligence that this neighborhood is prime for that shift, that that rolling over, some people use the word gentrification, but it doesn't have to just be gentrification. It can be revitalization. There's lots of dynamics. My goodness, I probably put most people to sleep answering these questions. I love real estate. I love real estate. I could talk about it all day. So I'll shut up now.
Well, I'm learning a lot because you actually explain it in a way that's simple to understand. But let's get off real estate for a second, because there's a question that I have, not my question, someone else. I'm gonna put up a video right now. If there are younger viewers in the audience here, close your eyes right now, because here's Todd's Instagram feed. Let's scroll down. Oh, what is this? There's Todd. Is this what coronavirus does by wearing a Corona apron? Wait for it. Oh, geez.
Yeah,
I can't not see that again. Oh.
Yeah, bright light coming at you. That's moons over Miami.
What is up with that?
That's actually 2 summers ago at the property we bought up in the Okanagan on the lake, and I was just goofing around. I like to have fun, and I actually found that video during the pandemic, just scrolling through my phone, and I thought, how ironic that I'm wearing a Corona apron.
Yeah.
And everyone talks about videos going viral. I think that video on my Instagram feed, I think has like upwards of, I don't know what, 125,000 views.
Yeah, it has over 100,000 views. Yeah, so
Yeah.
So now you know what works now, right?
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know I'm not wearing pants in this interview either. It's my new go-to. Anyone who wants to hire me has to understand this is no pants Talbot.
No pants Talbot. So let's talk about Instagram. You have you have 176,000 followers as of today, right now. We're having a look at your feed here, and what I like about it is there's such a variety of shots that you have, and a lot of good content, and it's not just all about, hey, look at me having fun. You have architecture, you have promotions, you have kid stuff, you have the naked stuff. You have your A-frame. How much time do you spend on this?
Oh my goodness.
It's like a full-time job, I would imagine, right?
It can be a full-time job, yeah. I mean, I don't think people really understand, the business kind of behind a personal brand and the time and effort and commitment and cost that goes into it. And it can be slippery, right? Like it can actually take over your life. You start living kind of through Instagram, which, I'm very conscious of it. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit older when I kind of got into it, when Instagram kind of came along. But I truthfully, I'm torn, because I think Instagram can be very powerful. It can be a great tool. I try to be as integral as I can through it. It's a platform that's designed to be aspirational. So, you can fall into the trap of trying to make things look perfect all the time. And, no one likes to post the messy stuff. And even when they do, I know how this game is played, and it's a game. So, it's tricky. I actually quite enjoy Instagram. Like, I wake up in the morning, I look through my feed, and I really enjoy following certain people. I learn a lot about other people's perspectives. I think it's great. Like right now, there's obviously this massive movement around Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. And Instagram can be very negative and destructive. Social media platforms in general. But I think right now you've seen a pullback, a rallying around using a platform like Instagram to stop, to really get a message out to people, to get people all on one page, and to have a dialogue. I know for me, it's been hugely educational over the last week, and Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I'm sensitive to it. It can be, like I said, it can take over, but it can be a lot of fun too. So.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that I gotta give you kudos because you are doing a lot of good with your platform. You know, some people, hey, here, look at what I'm eating. Here you go, and you know, here's 100,000 likes or whatever like this. You know, so you're honestly doing good. You're doing some charitable things with it as well. What have you done there?
Well, I probably work with, I don't know, 15, upwards of 15 different charitable organizations a year, maybe even more, probably a couple per month. You know, the last one actually grew out of the show that I've done, Sizes and Everything. I interviewed Andrew, who's the owner of Say Mercy Restaurant, which is a small boutique restaurant in Vancouver. They had already started a staff meal program where they were helping to feed staff, but also creating these healthy, fresh cooked meals and delivering them to frontline workers or people in need. And I learned about this through the interview with him, and then had an opportunity through a partnership that I have with TELUS. So I got TELUS on board. Like, I love connecting people. So I got TELUS on board to contribute. We got Say Mercy. Then we engaged the public through my Instagram channel to buy a meal. The meal was $5.
I know, $5. It was awesome.
I know, it's fantastic. So we just in one weekend we raised enough money to deliver 700 meals to an organization called Whole Way House in the downtown east side, which, you know, again, it's hard to talk about these things because it always sounds like self-aggrandizing. You know, you're like, oh, I'm doing good stuff. But to be able to pivot that platform and be able to do that, I think, is one of the responsibilities if you're in the public eye. And it's a great tool for that. I do a lot of work with Covenant House. I've been doing work with them for a long time, over 5 years now. We do a big fundraiser every year. Social media plays a big part in kind of getting that story out. BC Children's Hospital. I do a lot of work with VGH. You know, I'm the spokesperson for the VGH Millionaire Lottery, and I, you know, so there's lots of different things, and it's sometimes overwhelming because there's so many great things going on out there, and you want to be a part of it all, and you know, yeah, I mean, but I do like to jump. I like to take pictures of jumping, mostly because that won't last much longer. My knees are gonna get.
I love them. You know, I wish I had more shots here to show. I do not have a lot of shots, but I've witnessed it myself. You've done some interesting jumps, some very high jumps. But
you and I did a shoot where there was a prop house in front of a truck, and I came and jumped over the house, and you brilliantly captured it. I mean, that's how I know you as a videographer and photographer. So.
And I remember that they were freaking out because they either borrowed or rented that house. And it was worth a lot of money, this little dollhouse, and they're like, oh no, you know, because I think it was your idea. I'll just jump over it, right? And you know, it's like snap a shot when I'm in the air, right?
yeah, it's the best shot. And I'm like, I don't care, not my problem. That's your problem. I'm gonna get you a good photo.
I think didn't you get tied up on the roof of a vehicle there too, right?
Yeah. I was on the roof racks tied up there. That was good.
So everybody, if you don't already follow Todd on Instagram, follow him for sure. So Todd, I got another question here.
Okay.
What are you driving nowadays? Because last time I talked to you, you had a Tacoma. You've been always a huge fan of Tacomas. Are you still? I
am. I got another one. I've got a pale blue one. I don't know. I'm not sure which photo you have of me, but I've got the new. I'm not even sure what they call it. It's a very unique color of blue. Yeah, I drive the Tacoma. You know, I'm desperate, actually, to be honest with you, to get an electric car. I definitely want to pivot there. There's no real option for a pickup truck at the moment, so. the Tacoma fits my lifestyle perfectly with the kids throwing the bikes in the back. I'm always renovating something. We're about to launch into this big build up on the lake, and to think about not having a pickup truck it's just not feasible for me right now. But we also live in the city, so having a full-size truck is a little bit tricky, and so this is the happy medium. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a complicated guy when it comes to cars and tech and stuff like that. And the Tacoma is like really straightforward. As you know, there's not a lot of bells and whistles to it. You get in. One thing that they improved was that you can get, faux leather seats now, which I never understood before. Like, this is a work truck. You're getting in, you're dirty. Those cloth seats get destroyed in like the first 5 days. And anyways, they fixed that problem. All in all, I mean, I love it. It works great for us.
Well,
and they're not paying me to say that, by the way.
You hear that? That was not a sponsored comment there.
Yeah.
But you recently, I think I read on your feed, you traded and you tried a Tesla out. What was that like?
Yeah, so I traded my brother. My brother drives a Tesla, and again, I'm not like a huge car guy. My son is an absolute car fanatic. He knows way more about cars, and he's 9. Anyways, I got the Tesla, borrowed because my brother needed a truck. Huh? Everyone borrows the truck. And I drove around the Tesla. Honestly, I would say, and I've driven a lot of like supercars and those kinds of things. The Tesla, probably my favorite experience. I'm sure you've driven one, but like that immediate feeling of power there is, it blows you away.
Which one was it? Which one was it, by the way?
The S series.
Okay, he's got an S. Okay, yeah. So what else did you like about it? Do you like the big screen and stuff?
I like the big screen. I like the simplicity of all that. I like the screen, the navigation, the connectivity part of it. I like the back seat, like lots of space for the kids back there. The one thing that I felt was kind of clunky was the key card getting in was, I don't know, maybe it was just me getting used to it, but it wasn't as responsive as it. Like I figured that is kind of an old idea, and they've evolutionized or revolutionized so much that they still need this weird credit card key thing. Like
what? I don't even remember that.
Maybe it's just because it's not my car, so my brother gave me the like. I don't know, but you have to like, flash it over the middle part to get it started.
So you don't have it? Just didn't have a key fob, a regular key fob?
No fob.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. Sometimes newer is not always better. Another question. See, some people might have not tuned in right at 4 o'clock because all different demographics here. You might be watching from even Brazil. By the way, I caught your live feed, and I'm just watching all these hearts just I'm like, what's going on here? And
Brazilian flags.
Yeah, and I was like, they're all from Brazil. Like, you have a massive following of Brazilians. Like,
yeah.
Did you know that?
Well, I've known it for a while now. They're very active on social media, and they're super passionate people. I mean, I know that's a generalization, but at least that's what I get. Love It or List It Vancouver, while a lot of Canadians think, well, it's a Canadian show, it's a Vancouver show. I mean, that is farthest from the truth. I mean, it obviously airs in the United States under a different title. Love It or List It 2, because they dropped the Vancouver part, and it airs all over the world. So I have interactions with people, from Finland, from Brazil, from Russia, like you name it, this show airs. Like it honestly is a global phenomenon, and it's okay. I mean, it's an okay show, but it does surprise me that it resonates with people so much around the world. And Brazil, oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of speechless.
So some people have tuned in a little bit later, because that was one of our first questions. So, love watching, love it or list it. any more new episodes? You already answered that, so why don't you answer it again, or answer, it's like, why? First of all, everyone, there's not going to be, I'm going to ruin that for you. And Todd says no more. He's not going to do it anymore. Why? Tell us why again.
Well, simply put, it was time for a change for me. We'd agreed to do 5 years in the contract, and it felt like the right time to wrap things up. I mean, I always think you got to end on a high note. Everything was great. There's no drama. It's an opportunity to take that experience and move on to the next thing. And people are super passionate about the show. It doesn't mean that I'm going anywhere, and they're still making the original version, which is now shot in North Carolina. So you can still get your Love It or List It fix. But there's a feeling that happens with anything in life. People talk about it when they go to move. They're like, it feels like the right time to shift something in your life. And I think it's the same thing for jobs. And honestly, like, I encourage people. It's scary. There's only so many, big time hosting television jobs in the country. So most people look at me and go, "You're insane. Why would you ever want to leave?"
You're crazy.
Yeah, you're crazy. But honestly, you have to follow your heart. And for me, it was the logical time to go. And just opens up the possibility of doing something else.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding that, and it's really hard because it's like a big family. Everyone watches you, and they're part of the whole thing. So here's another one. Let's. What percentage did they say listed? Poor you. We felt bad that you rarely won. And did you get the listing?
If I had a nickel for every time I answered this question, so I don't know. The overall percentage is somewhere around like 60-40, weighted in on the side of people staying in their homes, which, I'm a renovator, stay guy at heart. So the fact that I play the role of, wanting people to move is not who I am. And that's part of, me trying to find another project that maybe is a little bit more authentic to who I am. I think it's interesting when people are looking for another place to live. Like, I love that conversation too, don't get me wrong. But the other thing that people forget is that, they say their answer, but they're not held to their answer. They say their answer based on the information that they've got right then. And then, there's lots of people that I know who have said love it, and something else changes in their life, and then they list their house. We don't get involved in anything with those people after the show. Lots of them are still friends. Like, I've invested with a couple who were on the show. I bought a house with them. Oh, wow. In partnership. One of my lawyers is a guy that I met through the show. He's a lawyer. I don't know. I can't think of any other great examples right now. But, I've met a ton of great people, and on the show, they may look a certain way, but most of them are fantastic. A few of them are not. We don't talk about those people, but generally speaking, they're all great people, and it's interesting to get to know all those different people.
It's funny that you said about North Carolina, because Mike says I live in Charleston, South Carolina, which, by the way, I have been there. It is gorgeous there. The area seems to have a strong real estate market. My house is older, paid for in a good area, thinking about a newer place. Stay, sell, or rent it?
Well, if you want to live somewhere else and you can keep it and rent it out, that's my personal investment strategy. That's how I run my business. I'm a buy and hold. I believe in the long-term benefits of real estate, having a renter in there to cover your costs, pay down your mortgage, automatic savings program. There's just so many benefits to having that increased capital appreciation over time, all those elements. So if you can swing it and it makes sense in your market, then I would hold it and rent it. That's what I do. Doesn't work for everybody, but yeah. And I mean, sell for the sake of change, I think, is poor. You probably don't win financially. I mean, there's lots of costs involved. I'm always a how can we make this situation work first? You know, I don't make my money as a realtor, so I get to give, not that realtors are biased, but you know, they're in the business of helping you buy and sell. And while my team can do that, for me, I'm more interested in looking at people's the whole picture, almost like as a financial advisor. You know, like there's a lot of dynamics that come into play, so it's very tricky to answer these questions. But if you can hold on to it, I love the future potential.
No, that's good advice. So, in your eyes, for the future of Todd Talbot, is there a future in television still? Is that your aspiration? Do you want to do another show? And if you do, what kind of show do you want? Do you want to get out of like reality and get more into drama, or do you want to do more live theater? What's in the future for Todd?
I think it'll be a mix. My career has always been a mix of things. I'd like to go back and do some more live theater, which will be a small component. But you know, I've grown to really like the unscripted side of things. I don't like kind of the old school reality stuff where it's real fakey. I think that there's a new trend now to try and be a little bit more authentic, and people want to know the truth. Like, you can't bullshit people anymore. Like, they can smell it a mile away. They know when something's up. And, you know, trust your instinct, people. When if it doesn't smell right, like it's probably not totally true. And it's very difficult. I mean, they're not documentaries. And even those are through the lens of somebody. But for me, I want to do a show that has a message that I believe in. So if it's in the real estate realm, I'm a huge believer in helping young people strategize how to navigate the market. That doesn't necessarily mean buy, but they need to understand how the machine works. And we don't teach that very much. And I think that there's a show out there to do that can take young people, young families, and help them with that process. That I would do in a heartbeat. I also believe in this movement that we've been talking about for a number of years, which is right sizing, which is talking about the real estate industry and looking at it through a lens of, we talked a little bit about it, which is, you know, finding people the space that they're actually going to use in the areas that they need to be living in, as opposed to buying into the media, the BS that we put out there, that the larger house solves your problems, you know, and to a certain extent, you know, television shows, a lot of them try and tell that story. And I think it's just counterintuitive. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. The show that I'd really love to do is a late night talk show live.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would love to do.
Well, this is a late afternoon talk show. You're halfway there right now. Okay,
I'm happy. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of cool opportunities.
Yeah, I would love to see you on a renovation show, you know, with your own projects, and you could, or other people's projects. You could start at my house right now, right here. That'd be great. I would love that. Love it. Absolutely love it. I don't need to list it. What are you watching? What are you watching nowadays on TV?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. What a great question. Well, we've burned through so many great shows. Mrs. Maisel. Have you seen that on Amazon Prime?
Okay, I'm writing this down. Mrs. Maisel. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a brilliant show. I mean, it does speak a little bit. It's set in New York. It speaks a little bit to kind of my theatrical background. Check it out. I highly recommend it. A documentary that I watched 2 nights ago was 13th.
I heard 13th. Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's about the 13th Amendment to the Constitution in the United States, and that will blow your mind. Okay. Everyone needs to watch that. Oh my goodness, what else? You put me on the spot.
Well, yeah. Well, I want to hear what Todd Talbot is watching. Is he watching?
You know, I used to
really
devour
obscure stuff or what?
Shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to devour home renovation shows. I don't watch any of them anymore.
You know, one that I really enjoy just because I would like to have one, and it hasn't been on for years, but they still play it. Is I think it's from back east. I believe it was called Decked Out. Do you
Oh
remember
yeah,
that?
with Paul LaFrance. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of those decks were just amazing. I'm like, oh man, I want that deck right now, right? Because they just
Yeah.
transformed the whole property. It was amazing. Any series you're watching?
Well, Mrs. Maisel's good. I've
How
been
about
watching.
how about Tiger King? Did you watch Tiger King?
You know what? I'll be controversial right now. I
Yeah.
think it's a pile of. Honestly, like to me, well, I didn't watch to the end of it, so you can criticize me for not getting all the way through. I watched the first couple episodes, and I don't know. I just feel like it was sensationalized crap that didn't. And I know it was a phenomenon, and everyone loved it and was talking about it. So I'm definitely in the minority. I understand that, but I just think that it's. I don't like that kind of show. I don't like it when people are torn down. I think it's dumb television. It's cheap. It's not smart. It's not smart. People are smarter than that. We can be smarter. We can do home renovation shows that are smarter. We can do reality shows that don't play to the lowest common denominator. I'm sure I'm going to get feedback for these comments, but I mean, because I know people love to just tune out, right? They just want to like veg tune out, and I get that. But for me, it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. All right. That's fair enough.
Did you like it?
It was entertaining, but like, yeah, it's mindless. I put it on while I was going to bed, right? And it's mindless. It's like, I guess it's kind of like watching wrestling. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
Fair.
yeah, it's those type of theatrics. But I really enjoyed Ozark. Have you watched that?
Ozark. Yes, Ozark is awesome.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of Jason Bateman. I mean, I think that dude is insanely talented.
Yeah. Very versatile, right? Who'd ever think that he'd go into like this, basically working for a drug lord after all his past roles, right?
Oh yeah, so great. As soon as we finish this, I'm gonna think of like 10 shows that are fantastic. But that is a great show as well. I mean, I love for my zone out time.
Yeah.
I'm watching stand-up comedians on Netflix. I like to laugh. I like to make people laugh, and I like to laugh myself. And I think that to me, there's so many really smart stand-up comedians. Interesting show. Okay, so Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Well, a podcast that I listen to is Dax Shepard's, which I don't know if you've listened to his.
I have not.
I think he does an awesome job, and he interviewed Jim Gaffigan, and so then I started like following him, and I don't know if he's still doing it. He's doing like this cooking with Jim Gaffigan YouTube show from his house, and honestly, it's hilarious.
It seems like everyone's doing a cooking show nowadays.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Amy
Super
Schumer's
fun.
got one. Paris Hilton has one, right? Pretty soon Todd Talbot's going to have one. It's like, yeah.
But I do mine naked, as you've seen.
Yeah. You know that works, though, right? You got to go with what works.
People might disagree with that one.
All right. Well, I think we're good here. We've gotten all the insights of what's happening with Todd. If you, once again, if you don't follow him on Instagram, check him out, and also check out his YouTube channel to see everything that he's got going on. And there's a lot of good stuff that he's got coming out. So, Todd, here's a question.
Yeah.
You come from a theatrical background. Can you? Oh, okay. Sorry. Just as we were about to go out, we have one more last question here. Glenn says, I don't know, what apps are on your phone and what's your favorite?
Well, Instagram. I've got, what else? A photo editing program, which I use all the time. I use PicTapGo.
Is that the program? Is that the photo editing program?
PicTapGo.
Okay, PicTapGo. Okay.
Yeah. It's really easy for people to make their photos look like really, really great. I got my online banking. Oh, have you checked out Quibi?
No.
Okay, so Quibi is really interesting. So that's one of the apps that I got on my phone. It is highly produced, like really, really slick, network level production. Shows that are designed between 4 and 10 minutes long.
Okay, yeah, I heard about this. Yes, I don't have the app, but I heard about this. Yes.
Yeah, I recommend it.
A lot of big stars are involved in that.
Huge,
right?
Absolutely. You know, I used to keep track of the sports scores, but there's not much of that going on. I've got my new website on here.
Oh
which
yeah.
is aframe.com, spelled frame.com. So go check that out as well. We got a big build coming up, and we're launching a store, and yeah, it's a really interesting venture. I'm learning a lot. So if you like cottages, you know, cabin lifestyle, West Coast feel, go check that out. And yeah, we got lots of cool stuff on there as well.
Yeah, so you know, so all of these links will be in the information in the description below. One quick question: you talked about a lake. What are your thoughts? Have you ever done houseboating?
I've never done houseboating. And I'd never actually even been in one before, but on the show, we showed a couple of them, and they're fascinating. People would message me and say, are they a good investment? I don't think they're a good investment. They're more of a lifestyle choice. But I've always wanted to go houseboating on the Shuswap
On the
or wherever.
Shuswap, yeah.
Have you done it?
I have done it. I have done it a couple times, and we're thinking about doing it again. It's really expensive though. It's super expensive, but it's a vacation that you just can't replicate anywhere. You know, you have the beautiful waters and mountains of British Columbia, as long as there's no forest fires during that time. And you get the best of all worlds. You have depending on what type of boat that you rent, but you have a luxury condo essentially, or, you know, with a penthouse, you have a hot tub, and you have a slide, and then at night you actually beach it, and then it's like camping, because you know you go on shore and you have you know, you can do your marshmallows and build a fire, and at night
it's a perfect pandemic vacation.
It is, and it's like I'm thinking about it, but yeah, it's really expensive. I think it's going to be really popular right now, which is not going to do any favors for the price. So, based on your live theatrical background, how would it be possible? Could you sing us out of this show, Todd?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Yeah. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, Brian doesn't pay well enough for me to sing him out.
Darn.
I'm trying to think of a good goodbye song. Well, it's time to go. What's that song? Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Yeah, exactly. There you go. We got one line. I'll tell you, I don't do that for everybody.
All right. Well, I appreciate you spending the time with us. I know you're a very busy person, Todd. And for everyone out there, if you haven't subscribed, if you like the content, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. Check out Todd's content as well. And as always, stay safe, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Todd.